And number three, you must implement the culture of that kingdom in that territory. Implement what? The culture. You ever heard the statement, when in Rome, do as the Romans do? The Romans colonized the whole known world, and they did it by governors. And everywhere the governor was established, they made everybody do what the Romans do. Now, I want you to understand the statement again. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. When you are in a colony, you don't do what you do. When you are in a colony, you do what the kingdom does. So when you were traveling throughout Europe during the Roman Empire, 2,000 years ago, every time you entered a Roman colony, you had to put what you was used to aside and take on the Roman culture. Otherwise, they would arrest you. You would be considered an alien, foreign. You become a threat to the empire. When you are in a colony, you do as the kingdom does. This other point is very important. Number 4, colonization means you must create a community reflecting the kingdom. And number 5, very simple, you have to produce a distinct society on the colony. Now this list is important. If you study the Bible and you read the teachings of Jesus, you'll find his teaching wrapped up in this list. Everything Christ preaches in this list. He came to earth to do everything on this list. He came to restore the governor. He came to reinstate citizens. He came to produce a culture of heaven. He came to earth to establish a community. And he came to earth to produce a heavenly society. Matter of fact, let me give you the list real quick. Please get this CD. It's very important to get it. Colonization, let me define it for you. Colonization, therefore, is successful and complete when the culture of the king and the kingdom is fully manifested in the colony. So if you want to measure whether colonization was successful, this is your measure. You have to measure it by checking to see if the culture of the king and the kingdom is manifested in the colony. That colony must reflect the nature of the king, which produces a prototype of the kingdom in the territory. In other words, when you go to a colony, you don't need to go to the kingdom. When you come to the colony, you should also automatically believe you are in the kingdom, because the kingdom is manifested so strongly in the colony, you literally become a prototype of the kingdom. I remember Jesus talking to Philip one time. Philip says, Lord, show us the Father. His answer was, how long have I been with you? He says, he that have seen me, have seen what the Father is like. You don't need to go to heaven to see what the Father's like, he says. Just check me out. Colonization, therefore, is the manifestation of a kingdom's prototype in a foreign territory. Is that clear, everybody? Now, I want you to watch this list. In 1973, the Bahamas declared independence from the Kingdom of Great Britain. Independence is historically defined as rebellion. Write that down, please. Rebellion. If you study history, many colonies shed blood to be free from a kingdom. The oldest independent colony in the Caribbean was Haiti. Haiti shed blood to become free from the Kingdom of France. They had to fight the French to be free. When you study Cuba, Cuba had to shed blood to be free from the Spanish. Why? They had to be free from the Kingdom of Spain. The Bahamas almost fought. Thank God we didn't fight. We had some smart leaders at that time who decided to fight with the pen and their tongue. It's called negotiation. But there was a threat. They threatened the the British government. They told them that if they don't give it to them, we were going to rise up. A lot of folks don't even know that there was almost a war internally. Some of you heard about some issues in Abaco some years ago. Abaco wanted to stay with the kingdom, and the rest of the Bahamas wanted to leave. And there was almost a fight. Matter of fact, there was weapons in the country, I found out, where there was going to be a war between Abaco and the rest of the Bahamas, because they didn't want to leave the kingdom. Now, I'm saying this for a reason. When you threaten independence, rebellion is what it's called. Got the word rebellion down? Now, the word rebellion in Hebrew is spelled like this. Write it down, right next to the word. S-I-N. Write it down. Rebellion is the word for sin. Whenever you declare independence from a kingdom, you rebel against the kingdom's influence and authority over your colony, and it's called rebellion or sin. So the fall of man was not a fall from heaven. It was a fall from dominion rulership under the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, the fall of man was the declaration of independence from the kingdom of heaven. Please write that down. Don't complicate this. Don't make it religious. This is not religious. Adam declared independence from heaven, and earth became an independent colony under its own government. It had to found its own government. We had to rule ourselves, and we're still doing it, and we're making a mess of it. The United Nations is trying their best, and do you know that since the UN was formed, there's been more wars in the world than before the UN was formed? Which means even the UN ain't working. In Darfur today, 250,000 people were killed in a poor country in Darfur, and they are innocent people because the governments are fighting over religious issues. The riots that took place this week in Turkey, almost 1 million people in the street because they were afraid that a government is about to be established in the country who is a Muslim leader who believes in Sharia law. And they say, we don't want Sharia law. So the whole nation rose up against the one president. They're not sure he's even going to make it this week. They're probably going to do a new elections because they're afraid of the guy. Imagine voting for a guy you're afraid of and then get rid of him. Our governments ain't working. Why? When you declare independence, you got to make your own governments. I remember God begging the children of Israel one time. He said, look, I brought you out of Egypt. I want to be your government again, the way Adam was, just me and you. He said, I will be your God, you will be my people. Hey, boys, say amen. That's what God begged them. He says, you do not want a government. You do not want an earthly king. You don't. He said, they said, yes, we do. He said, you don't. Yes, we do. He said, you don't. He said, let me tell you why. If you get an earthly king, first they're going to send your sons to war. Secondly, they're going to give taxes on you. Thirdly, they're going to be oppressors on you. They said, we still want earthly kings. God said, okay, then choose your king. And they chose Saul. Oh, Lord, have mercy. I mean, know what happened to Saul, don't we? Matter of fact, one of the commands that God told Saul not to do is an interesting command, you know. God says, do not number the people. This is interesting. Every Bahamian has a NIB number. Every American has a Social Security number. God said, don't number the people. Why? Number means control. The wisdom of God is incredible. That's why you can't control illegal immigrants. Because they ain't got no number. You don't know where they are, what they're doing. They're the only ones that you can't catch. But you, they got your number, baby.